Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. I'm so tired. Oh my gosh, and I still have to edit Power, you guys. Coming to you with a quick review for Married to Medicine. This is season 7, episode 9 and 10. I didn't do episode 9 last week, which was Showdown in Savannah, and then this episode 10, the one that aired tonight, is called Food for Thought. So we're going to kind of combine both of them, and I hope that's okay with you guys. You let me know, put it down below. I'm going to try to do better with Married to Medicine. For me, when things get to this predictable place, it's hard for me to find it interesting, and that's why I'm like missing episodes. I'm not feeling really pressed about episodes like Greenleaf and Power. I feel pressed about because I do find there to be some interesting characteristics about the show that make it interesting for me, that make it more engaging for me, that gives me something to work with. Married to Medicine, I don't feel that way. I just feel like I'm on the same old gerbil wheel as Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know. Even with everything that's going on with Real Housewives of Potomac, Monique and Candace, Nene and Kenya, I just feel like I've been here before. Like I've been on this vacation before. Over it. Anyway, but let's get into this episode, of course, and we're going to incorporate last week's episode really quick. Heavenly, she is helping Contessa's father. He is getting some bridge work done. He was on drugs really bad. You know, of course, that wreaks havoc on your teeth. And she is putting in, as Contessa keeps saying, she's giving him a new smile. She's giving him a new smile, which is just really her way of rebranding the fact that he needs a lot of dental work done, like teeth replaced and just like a more customer facing, friendly customer facing face. I guess that's what I want to say. And she keeps saying he's getting a new smile, which is really a great way to sort of approach the whole situation. Dr. Heavenly, of course, is very welcoming to Contessa, very welcoming to her father. They quip about the fact that he's actually got a gold grill and 5 carats. I mean, he doesn't really know what is in his mouth. I mean, he has no idea. Like, the carrot part, I'm just like, okay, and you was on drugs. I don't think they're carrots, but okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna pick at that scab. Let's see what else. So that's basically Dr. Heavenly later on at Quad's Cooking with Miss Quad party. Dr. Heavenly is just hands down super supportive to Quad during her party. You know, she big ups her outfits and the setup of the party. Is a little bit of shade here and there, but for the most part, Dr. Heavenly is super close to Quad. I see where on Instagram and on YouTube they are doing ventures together. They're hanging out. They seem like they're very good friends, which I mean makes perfect sense because Quad is Mariah's arch enemy, and Heavenly is severely jealous of Mariah for a bevy of reasons. I think Mariah's body, Mariah's style, Mariah's look, the fact that Mariah is mean as F to her and always slights her. Like, she has a lot of reasons to hate her, some of which, or the bulk of which, is probably more about jealousy. And a good bit of it is because Mariah gives it to her, I mean, to be fair. So it stands to reason her and Quad would get close. They have a lot to commiserate over. Um, yeah, so that's Dr. Heavenly. Then Mariah, Is coming out of Ramadan. You know, she is Muslim. Aiden is Muslim. He's Muslim. His family's Muslim. She kind of incorporates her family and friends and their friends into the situation. They have a dinner. And instead of it just being about family and friends, what they learned over Ramadan, like what benefits they got from being on this, really strenuous, really strict fast, in time of reflection, she makes it about the fact that someone said something about her and drugs. And this is what I want to say about both Heavenly and Mariah. Back in episode 9, they were in Savannah, and it was a big to do about Mariah, feeling like the ladies weren't supporting her with this whole Quad situation. Quad saying she was doing cocaine. Well, equally, they're not supporting you in saying that Quad, or believing that Quad cheated with your brother-in-law. Like, you guys exchanged stories. You called her an adulterer and a harlot and a whore, and she called you a drug addict, like, essentially. So what they say, even swap can't be no swindle. I mean, it is what it is, girl. I do think it says a lot about the fact that Jackie wouldn't even look at the results. I mean, to me, she's kind of sold out on believing Quad. Like, if you're going to be fair, all things being equal, I would have looked at the results. At the same time, Mariah, why don't you just go to Quad? Why don't you go to Quad and talk to Quad? Why don't you hire a lawyer and put a cease and desist? I mean, you had your hair tested. Like, what more can you do? At this point, you kind of seem as though, you're trying to play the victim when you have thrown darts. Not just last season, not just slightly this season. You haven't necessarily thrown darts, but you have been trying to undermine and take Quad out at the knees. You want the ladies to make a definitive decision that you are the supreme ruler and Quad is a liar, and you want them to snub her down like they snubbed you, but it's not going to really happen, really. Like, essentially, no. At the same time, I get it. You have a brand, your husband has a brand, he is a doctor, you don't need this out there. But again, the best way to keep you from affecting your husband is not to engage. I don't know what else it is you could do. You really could, to me, make a whole season about getting on Jackie's nerves. Go see Jackie. Go talk to Jackie. Go have lunch with Jackie. Have moments with Jackie. Like, to me, that would be more entertaining, trying to see you guys work it out and not be awkward between each other than it would for you to carry on this thing with Quad when you are mutually responsible. I also saw where your sister at this Ramadan dinner decided, after your leading about bringing up the drug abuse and how it's been hard for you because you have been accused and you just want to keep everybody close to you and your family, then your sister decides to call Quad a whore. Which, this is what you and Lucy and Pond do. You do things in a super, super passive aggressive way. At the same time, you want to be perceived as this really strong individual and you don't take no stuff, but the way you're handling this situation is less than stellar, Mariah. And I think you're beautiful. I love your relationship with your children. I love how you entertain. I think it's sad that you are not able to entertain more than what you do. You really throw a spectacular party. If you're not careful, girl, if you're not paying attention, you're going to let Quad overshadow you. You're so busy with the molehills. The mountains are getting by you, my dear. But yeah, that's Mariah. Now, she's not invited to the party. She is not. She feels the type of way about all the other ladies. Of course, she's not going to be invited to Quad's party. So that is basically the end of Mariah. Then we see where Simone tried to intervene last week. in her own passive aggressive way. I swear they should call this the real passive aggressive housewives of Married to Medicine. Like, sat at the table in Savannah and tried to say it was really breaking her heart, and she was disappointed that Mariah and and Quad aren't friends. She said she took Mariah's side, but Quad took it like she was taking Mariah's side. The four of them went to the bathroom. I think it was Toya, Heavenly, Mariah, and Jackie still at the table. This is when Jackie wouldn't look at the results. Heavenly wouldn't even bring it up. She wouldn't even discuss it again. I'm told that she deleted tweets where she insinuated that Mariah was on drugs, and she believed it. It's just this whole big thing. Like, at this point, Mariah looks like she's begging for approval. And it's so unattractive. It just gives you this sense of weakness, Mariah, that I don't really care for. Still, Toya is really, really standing by her. Simone also, on this episode, she is struggling with her son Miles. He, I guess, decided how it was too much for him. He is now in Georgia State. He still has to be woken up. He still is having his clothes washed. He's still not cleaning up. All of this is because he doesn't have to. He doesn't feel the pressure to do. My mother always says, people do not do what you expect, EX, but they do what you inspect, IN, which means you have to require more of your son and you have to follow through on that. You do. You do. I mean, he wants to leave Georgia State and go to Berkeley. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I tell you what you will do. You will do a year at Georgia State and you'll get your ish together and you'll prove yourself. You'll be reliable. Okay, you will be accountable, and then we'll talk about you going to another school. What you will not do is set my money on fire right in front of my face. That's what you won't do, sir. I mean, it is what it is. Last week we got a chance to see Cecil kicking it with Scott, and Scott was, of course, bemoaning about the whole Contessa situation. I mean, Scott, it really just seems like you in over your head. You in over your head. Like, I at one point I thought you and Contessa talked about it, but she's acting like y'all had no conversation about it, and you not really pressing back too hard on that notion. So I'm starting to look at you real suspect. We do get to see Contessa and Scott in this episode interact in a way that really kind of worries me furthermore, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm just side-eyeing this whole debacle of theirs. But Cecil's a good, resounding voice. Side note, I got to see Cecil and Simone and Monique and Chris Samuels from Real Housewives of Potomac. It was a good look. I can see it. Cecil and Simone are an older couple. And they have 2 children. Monique and Chris have 3 children. They have smaller children. They are a younger couple. They both have something to lend. To me, it seems like Chris and Monique have an extremely good communication value going on between the two of them. That's something they can definitely lend to Cecil and Simone. Cecil and Simone have years, they have experience, they have older children. They're a very fun couple. They seem like Chris and Monique seem like they're very fun. I can see it. I can see them hanging out, and I love to see the housewives co-mingling, because you have to get outside of your circle. You just have to, or you really do get kind of pigeonholed, right? Then we saw where at Quad's party, Simone and Toya got offended at something that went on with Quad, and they decided to leave the party. I think Toya left because she felt bad about coming and Mariah wasn't invited. I think Simone left because this is her storyline. Otherwise, it's about pulling the trash and not getting up in the morning and your your sons and they stinky balls. Like, mm-mm. Jackie refusing to look at those results in Savannah last week. I was just like, Jackie, it's just poor form. It doesn't seem balanced to me. And I mean, it says volumes. It really says a lot. Like, she's not here for Mariah. She's not feeling Mariah. And whatever way she can tell Mariah, whatever slight way she can tell Mariah without being held up too long in one of Mariah's diatribes, that's what she does. She keeps it pushing past Mariah. She snubs her in a real super duper high class way. It's very dismissive. Very, very dismissive. And it is crushing Mariah. It is crushing Mariah. Still at the same time, she doesn't have a lot for Quad. And her and Quad got more in common Quad and Jackie got more in common than Jackie and Heavenly. Heavenly husband ain't never cheated on her. Okay? More in common than Jackie and Contessa. Right? Contessa husband ain't never cheated on her. But she has more in common with with Mariah and Quad, because Mariah has had her husband cheat on her, and so has Quad. It's just weird. It's weird when people say that they're here to help. They want to do lemon squeezes and kumbaya sessions and all of that. And the people that need your help the most are the people that you're snubbing, that you're dismissing, that you devalue. So it's odd. It's very, very odd. Also, she is wanting to put another $250,000 almost into her home. How much was the house originally? Like, what did you pay for the house? Did you pay like $300,000? Like, is this house gonna be in total $500,000, which is great? Is it gonna be worth $2 million when you're done? Like, why wouldn't you just buy a house? Why wouldn't you build a house for that? It's just so nonsensical that she would put $250,000 in renovations. Like, what is it, a castle? I mean, girl, what is 250? How much was the house? Whatever. Curtis is trying to act like he got some say so. Curtis, you don't even work anymore. Like, where's your money? You got some business or somewhere we don't know about? Because last we heard you was out there when you was cheating on Jackie, you was tricking around with Jackie money. But you still working there. Maybe it was your money. I'm just telling you what the people said. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Like, he's trying to make it seem as though he's got some say so. Jackie pulls the guilt card. One, he wouldn't let her have any children. Two, she's fought and won with cancer 3 or 4 times. And 3, the piece de resistance, he cheated on her. He cheated on her in a very public way. So it really don't matter. But okay, we're going to act like Curtis really, really does have a say-so, and he really does care about the budget. I mean, no, he's playing the role at this point. He's earning part of Jackie's salary by going along with the bull crap. She's at a party with Quad. She doesn't have a lot to say about Quad, what Quad did. That kind of got Simone and Toya to leave. Toya is in the new house. She's got her 2-story closet. It is nice. I saw somewhere on YouTube where she showed her closet with Bravo and everything. And if she like it, I love it. If they can afford it, it's great. What else, Quad? What else? What else? You're less than interesting. I mean, and you're barely interesting. Your body is taking this weird turn that for me is a little awkward and uncomfortable. What else you got going on, sis? What else? You got a house built. You support Mariah. What else? You might have a beef enough with Heavenly to be interesting, but then what else? Like, Contessa, like I said, Contessa. Shout out to Toya though too, that she did speak up very rationally, very clearly, very concisely about Quad last week in Savannah. I can give her that. And I think she recognizes where the boundary lines and the cliques and the alliances are. And I respect that about Toya. Also, Toya is super hilarious in the confessional. She's really, really funny. Let's talk about Contessa. Contessa, I mean, what the freak, Contessa? I like you, but what you giving me this season, it confuses me. Like the way you're turning against Scott, that's your road dog. Like Scott had your back on that boat against Simone. He had your back against Toya. You know what I mean? Like he is really, really, really there for you. This season you coming across real selfish. Now you don't quit the program. Happy now, you blame him. You go on this trip to Savannah, you talk to Jackie. Jackie was kind enough to give you good advice and pray with you. Basically, if you're angry, you need to talk to him. It's about communication. Like, what is going on? He's talking to Cecil. He feels like you are what do you call that? You are resentful of the fact that you quit the program. You're resentful of him. But it doesn't seem like you're being really clear. It doesn't seem like you're being authentic. And it also seems like you are full speed ahead, committed to making Scott look like an idiot behind all of this. I don't know why you're talking to Jackie and your dad comes this episode, like I said, and then you want the kids, you want to go with the kids into saying they want grandpa to take care of them. Like, you might as well leave them with Scott. Like, girl, just call a service, vet the service, and have somebody come pick your kids up for school and get their breakfast ready, then come back in the afternoon and make sure dinner is on. Like, you, if you can afford this school, if you can afford to stay in Tennessee 3 days a week, if you can afford to fly back and forth, you can afford a good solid nanny, somebody you can really, really trust and depend on. Who's taking care of Toya kids when she not there? Is it all just Toya? Who's taking care of Mariah kids? Like, you ain't gonna ask nobody for no sitter. You rather drag your husband. It's not a good look. When she asked her daddy about coming, and then Scott tried to intervene. You know, he just was, he wasn't intervening in a demonstrative way. He was intervening in a way that was like, well, I think, you know, your daddy doesn't need to come and stay. And she was like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to daddy. She was trying to get her daddy to commit under peer pressure from the children and her to come and stay and take care of the kids. Is this why you got his teeth done, so he can come and see about your children? You know your father isn't in the best health. You know your father was out there on them streets. You know your daddy is up in age. He ain't no better or no worse than Scott. You still in the same boat. Y'all just got four eyes looking at the kids making a mess as opposed to two. Scott tried to, speak up, and she says, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to daddy. And your daddy says, yeah, your Scott is right. I don't think I'm up for that. But why somebody got to tell you that? Like, why would you put three young children on your father? He barely raised you. Trying to find a way to go back without saying, this is what I want to do. Let's put both of our doctorial brains together and figure this out. Instead of being so rudimentary about the whole situation. Contessa, I really like you, but I don't like this look at the party. And in Savannah, Contessa kept her nose clean. She didn't want to get involved because she said, like I said, Mariah and Quad have both thrown shots at each other. These lemon squeezes don't work. Like, everybody's going to do the same old, same old, same old. And I agree with Contessa. Then we see where Buffy has turned into the fart in the wind. Like, I barely remember Buffy from this episode. She was at the party. She had her husband there. They were both in white. Of course, he's white, so I guess he was white on white. And She agreed, like we all did, that Quad knows how to throw a party. What else? What else? She was born in Savannah. She get up early. She reading her books. Like, whose idea was Buffy? Whose idea was Buffy? That's what I like to know. Hopefully, it will pick up. But basically, that is Married to Medicine. Last week's episode and this week's episode, Quad ends up making this whole speech about at her white party. Her party was beautiful. It was lavish. That second outfit she changed into, which was a silver, it really was more pewter. I love a darker pewter type. Glitz and glams to me, it's just more old world. It's more classic. And Quad looks beautiful. I think that blonde hair looks pretty on her. I like it. Quad does look flawless. Her body is flawless. That party was flawless. That speech, on the other hand, was kind of womp womp. I mean, she knew what she was doing going for Sister Circle first. You should have gone with the oldest friends first. Your Sister Circle friends are not your newer friends. So you should start it from the most seasoned, and did your appreciation. Just like if you was standing up in church or you was doing a toast and your parents were there and your grandparents were there, you would do things in a more structured fashion. But she did what she felt, and she thanked Sister Circle first. And Simone and Toya felt some type of way when they did the previews for this week. On last week, it seemed more dramatic. Seeing it now here, I probably would have stuck around to the end. I probably wouldn't have cared. I would have put a pin in it. I would have made a note of it. But I certainly would not have carried on the way Simone and Toya did, leaving. She asked about them. She was gradually moving to them in the speech and thanking people and just celebrating people. Buffy, Contessa, Heavenly, of course, was woo 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 rah rah rah. It's a little weird. It can be a little weird. Contessa's support of, Heavenly support of Quad. I don't know. They're not as much fun as Quad and Mariah, but nobody on this show is. We really lost something when we lost that friendship. I wish we could just be done with all this unnecessary bull crap and just move forward. It's just ridiculous. But and then she got that car. That car was really beautiful. It wasn't a gift. It was a gift, but it was the gift to herself that she had ordered, and it was there early, and they had it delivered. The pictures with the car was really nice. It was really beautiful. That is Married to Medicine. You guys tell me what you think and put it down below. What did you guys think of last week's episode as opposed to this week's episode? I think to me the most disturbing thing about this season is the direction that Contessa and Scott's marriage is headed in. How Contessa is coming across. It's a little self-centered. Y'all tell me what you think, and y'all put it down below. And until next time, honeybees, mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll holla.